Internet. Get this mini Thrax out of the way. It is still beer 30 Internet. Let's have another sip. Because we're just doing back to back to back today. Still very delicious. Still some subtle pine notes along with the citrusy bitterness. Very bitter, yet goes down surprisingly smooth. I keep saying that, but it really does. Especially for a 10% triple IPA. Love that design too. Look at their design. Really nice. Burlington Beer Co., y'all. If you're ever up in the Burlington area, go check them out. They're over in Williston. It's good. So today's an interesting one. First of all, this needs a couple shout outs. Shout out to Fabian for doing his Thursday night giveaways. I often don't get into them because they're a little later in the day when I don't have the chance to participate all that much. But I actually got to participate in this one and hang out and chill. But then also, I mean, I didn't win this, so don't get it twisted. But Arvin Santos, good guy, donated this to the giveaway. What? And then Michael DeMesa won it. I feel like he's won a bunch of stuff. He's definitely won my giveaway, one of my giveaways. He got the True Spin, the Eternity, I believe it was. So it's the COG version. But anyway, neither here nor there. Oh, that feels really good. True Spin, y'all. Go check them out. They got a bunch of their stuff on sale. Great bearing removal tools. Let's sell that guy out. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this here. So, and I'm perplexed on this one, Internet, because this is definitely nothing like a spinner, despite being made by Rotostone and having bearings. So I think we're just going to go into this. Now, I've played around with it, and I think we're just going to talk about it as we play with it, and then we'll just leave it at that. So now, this was a stonewashed version. I don't know if it was stonewashed by Arvin or from Paul Watson. But it's not actually a lot of stonewash. It's really just this one arm that's stonewashed, which I thought was interesting, but hey, it is what it is. But, you know, when the Pendulum first came out, I don't know if I actually was really aware when it first came out, but I definitely was aware of it well before they started doing the China versions. And I don't know if this is a Chinese version or not. Now, and part of, I think, what was going on is he really wanted to make sure that if it was made in China, it would maintain the same quality. So I can understand wanting to have one not China-made, but at the same time, in theory, they should be the same. But essentially what you've got is you've got a bearing in here and a little spinner. And then you've got a bearing in here and another like asymmetrical one-armed spinner. Now, when I saw this come out, I thought it was really interesting and actually looked up the double pendulum theory, or the idea with a double pendulum is pretty interesting. It's a pretty, and they actually call it a chaos fidget toy. You know, there's not a lot of like mathematical type things, I think, that are just completely chaotic. And maybe there are, but this one in particular, you look it up on Wikipedia, just the idea of a double pendulum is pretty interesting. Like a pendulum, you can plot, right? It's very simple, and a lot of mechanical things of that nature will do essentially the same thing under the same circumstances. But a double pendulum does a lot of really weird stuff. And actually, I can kind of hold it at an angle and still. Right, so it forces itself back and forth, but the swinging of these arms and the path that this second arm takes is very chaotic and unique. So it is kind of fun to actually play with and fidget with, but it's not like a fidget spinner. But essentially, and there's a lot of different ways, as I was fidgeting with it, I kind of found a bunch of different ways to fidget with it. So the first thing I kind of wanted to do was just like try to spin it like a spinner and let it do its thing. And especially if you try to hold it close to vertical, if you hold it super still, it'll stop. But if you have the slightest bit of movement up and down, it wants to keep going and do some interesting things. So at first, what I was really hoping this would do is I would spin it, and it would just be so free spinning that I couldn't get it to stop. That, for me, would have been amazing if I could have like not gotten it to stop. But if my hand's moving ever so slightly, it spins one way and it spins another, and you can kind of like trick it to do some interesting things. Like I turn my hand this way, and you turn it the right way when this little guy, let's bring it a little closer, when the little guy's going one way, and get that second arm to fall in, or give it a kind of grab this. So you got these little gears here on the side that give you grip, which are very important. But give it a good spin here, and then kind of let it. I don't know, but it's not something that you're going to do any sort of like long spinning really with. It's pretty interesting to do this sort of a thing. Just give it just a little pull on there and just let it ride and do its thing for a second, then do it again. Maybe flip it over, maybe get on its side, pull it around. let it do its thing. But again, if you're holding it really still, if you got steady hands, and my hands aren't even that steady, it'll stop. But again, you get it to start dancing. Part of the fun is just getting it to start dancing, but then you're really focusing on it and paying attention. If I just want this in my hand, I'm not really doing that. I'm grabbing this arm, flipping it. And again, you get kind of an interesting feel, an interesting sensation, but honestly it doesn't feel that different if I'm not paying attention to it. Like if it's over here and I'm just fidgeting while I'm working, it doesn't feel that different than like a one-arm spinner, you know, like probably like a chopped by Axiom or something like that. Yeah, so one of the other things though that as I was fidgeting with it, holding on to this and just not actually like letting go, but like pulling it back and forth and getting it to do things, because you can get pretty good grip. Like it's actually kind of nice to just swing this guy around, or you can flick it, or you can pull it, or you have to hold it, but you can do like a tablespin. As soon as you let go, like it rubs. So, but give it a whoops. Right, kind of does some fun, interesting things. So it's got a bunch of unique little ways to kind of fidget and play around with it, right? It wants to do some weird and wacky stuff as a little chaos fidget toy. But for me, it's not like a super, for me, it's not like a practical kind of thing. For what I like from fidgeting, right? I've tried a few things. I've tried the haptic coin. I've tried the Rotostone. And big shout out like for Rotablade doing well, that was a good one. Doing different things, right? Doing this double pendulum action, doing the Rotostone, really doing some innovative stuff and some really completely different things with spinners, because not everybody's going to necessarily enjoy spinners the same way. But for me, like, it's really about having a fidget spinner. So for me, this is something that I guess we'll get into the recommendations that I can't recommend for me. So this has got to get a 1 thumb because I think what it is, it's excellent, but for me, it's not something that I would enjoy or I'd want to carry. I think it's unique. It's cool showing off too. Like this is definitely one, like seeing this going on. It's a good conversation starter. So it's, you know, as I have these things all over my desk, people want to ask me about them. And this is one that's definitely like encouraged some conversation. I'm like, oh, what is that thing doing? And again, as you kind of play around with it, you can get it to do some really interesting spins. The tricky thing is getting this arm going kind of wild while it's still spinning. Right, and that does all the really weird stuff. And if you hold it, again, it's very close to level, but you move it a little, it'll go one way, and then that arm will throw it around the other way. So, yeah, it's neat. It's cool. It's its own thing. For me, it's not something, again, I can really recommend, but I know people that have them that love them and enjoy that sort of a thing, right? So if you're not someone, like for me, again, I'm a preloaded flicker. Kind of sounds dirty, right? But I want to give it a good, I just want to get in there and just be like, that's what I enjoy. If that's what you really enjoy and that feeling of speed, you're not really going to get that out of this. If you're someone that's in there and you're like, dun 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 dun, then yeah, maybe this is for you. So I think there's definitely people that it's for and people that enjoy it. So, and you don't see them on the secondary that often. So the people that are getting them aren't letting go of them. So, and again, it's a unique thing to add to the collection, and right, you can do some fun things with it. Anywho, so I think that's all we got to say. I don't really have much else to say on this, although I do appreciate the opportunity to get one in my hands. I've really wanted to try one for a while, so big shout out to Michael de Mesa and Arvin Santos. Michael for winning it, Arvin for sending it to me, and Arvin for giving it away, and Fabian for doing the giveaway. So, yeah, let's do this one more time. Oh, it really just got going. Let's try. Right, kind of neat. So we'll put that back in its tin. We'll send it out to Michael since he won it. He can have it. It's his. And kisses, internet.